Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to take your source materials, articles, research, even personal notes, and turn them into instantaneous insight.
And today's deep dive is really something special.
It really is. We're getting into the philosophical and I'd say the poetic with the collected writings of Paul Haagensen. These were documented pretty intensely between 2021 and 2023.
Yeah, and these aren't, stuffy academic papers. They're reflections. They were inspired by these incredible, vast environments.
Places like the Atlantic Ocean, the shores of Portosana, Madeira, places that make you feel small.
Exactly. Notes born from deep contemplation. You're looking out at this immense natural scale, and then you can't help but turn that focus inward.
And to really set the stage for this kind of thinking, Haagensen kicks things off with this one mind-bending fact. It's the kind of thing that just completely recalibrates how you see the world.
It really does.
Okay, so let's unpack this. He was thinking about a single grain of sand. Yeah. Something we don't even notice on a beach.
Right.
And the research he found, it's just astonishing. That one single grain of sand contains enough atoms that if you could lay them end to end,
You could reach the moon.
you could reach the moon. It's just,
Thing.
I can't even picture that.
And that's the whole point. It's immediate, visceral proof that there's this immense complexity, this incomprehensible power hidden in what we think of as mundane.
So that sets our mission for today's deep dive then.
It does. We're exploring Haagensen's central idea, this idea that we are fundamentally magical beings living in a chosen construct.
A chosen construct.
Yeah, and to get there, we have to understand the really sharp distinction he draws between our physical body, which he calls the spacesuit,
The spacesuit, I love that.
and our eternal essence, which he calls the animator within.
The spacesuit and the animator. Such an evocative title. Okay, let's start with the suit. This physical body we're all in right now.
Right.
He presents it as this hyper-specialized, incredibly complex vessel, but also one that can feel, and I'm quoting here, cumbersome and burdensome.
Well, it's a paradox, isn't it? I mean, this suit is the result of millions of years of refinement. It's an absolute masterpiece of engineering, perfectly tailored for life right here on Earth.
What?
But because it's so specialized, it needs constant energy, constant attention. The source calls it a complex survival kit that demands, moment-to-moment upkeep.
And the scale of what's going on inside this kit is just staggering. We're not talking about a single organism, are we?
No, not at all. And this is something Haagensen was clearly obsessed with. The suit is a symphony of trillions of sentient, intelligent entities.
You mean like cells and bacteria?
Cells, bacteria, entire biological processes, all communicating, all working in perfect unison. You should think of it less like one body and more like a vast, unique ant colony that you carry around with you.
Constantly managing things, fighting off threats.
Exactly. It sounds exhausting.
It does. And why is all that upkeep so relentless?
Because of entropy. It's the one unbreakable rule of this physical dimension.
Breakdown.
Everything is in a state of decay. Everything. Everything we create, everything that has a physical form, including this body, it's all transient. And the byproduct of all that breakdown,
Dust.
it's dust. So the body is in this constant fight against that pull toward, disintegration.
But it doesn't just fall apart. It has these tireless maintenance mechanisms inside. And this is where the renewal part gets really interesting.
It's a profound cycle. The notes point out that most of the cells in our body, they transform, they get replaced about every 7 years.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying I am materially a completely different person than I was 7 or 8 years ago?
Physically, yes,
Yeah.
almost entirely.
Then why do I still feel like me? How are my memories, my personality? How is my identity still intact?
Because the body is just the suit. The core identity, the animator, that's what holds the blueprint. It's the consciousness that communicates with the new batch of cells.
So it's like it's downloading the software into new hardware.
That's a great way to put it. It downloads the essential instructions so the suit can remain you. It's a permanent consciousness piloting an ephemeral vessel.
Wow. If the animator is that powerful, holding the blueprint for the suit, does that power ever sort of bleed through? Is the veil ever thin?
It is. The sources talk about these moments where we briefly touch what he calls the realms unseen.
Like what?
Like those fleeting flashes you sometimes catch in your peripheral vision.
Oh yeah, everyone's had that. You swear you saw something dart away the second you looked.
Exactly. He describes these as glimpses of beings from other dimensions. maybe departed loved ones, maybe just others. And they're struggling to move through our dense material world.
It's hard for them to be here.
It's like trying to move through thick vapor for them. They're moving at speeds we can't imagine relative to us, and they can barely stay for a fraction of one of our seconds. The construct we're in is just too dense.
That really puts our daily stress in perspective. We're living in this slow, dense, constrained version of reality.
On purpose.
Okay, so let's shift focus. Let's talk about the animator within. If the body is the temporary spacesuit, what is this core identity?
The animator is fundamentally an eternal being. It exists in a state of pure energy and thought. And this physical life here in this dense construct, it was a choice.
A conscious, deliberate choice.
Very deliberate. Hogginson compares it to watching a movie, but you've slowed it down to the frame-by-frame level. You're meticulously studying each and every frame. It's a profound, intentional experience designed for learning.
I find the origin part of this so fascinating. The idea of coming from nothing. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Well, this is where it gets philosophically heavy. We perceive it as nothing, but that leads to this huge realization that nothing constitutes everything.
Explain that.
Think of that vast, unseen realm of potential energy. It holds the grandeur of all possible existence. That's where our spurt comes from, and that's where we eventually return.
So the reality we see around us, this table, this microphone, my body, it's largely an illusion.
Or at least a temporary manifestation, a construct. It's created by energy interacting with energy over ages. We built these dense constraints, and our lighter, pure energy bodies, they can't just permeate it easily.
Which is why we need the spacesuit.
Exactly. To play the game of slow, structured, tangible reality.
But when we transcend that suit, when we're back in that state of pure thought, those constraints just disappear.
Precisely. And the entire cosmos becomes accessible instantly because the speed of thought knows no boundaries. You don't need a starship. Your mind just is there.
That is true transcendence. But wait, if our thoughts have immediate, tangible effects, wouldn't that just be chaos the second we're free? All our lingering fears, doubts?
And that's the crucial question. He suggests that initially mastering this power is the challenge. The body, the suit, it acts as a filter. It dampens and delays our thoughts from manifesting, which gives us time to choose.
But once we're free, that filter's gone.
Gone. Intention and manifestation become one, so that discipline is imperative.
And the source says that whether we choose to move on from this planet or linger, it's all guided by our deepest desires, desires we might not even be aware of now.
Exactly. And here's the really interesting part. Those deepest desires are purposefully shielded from our awareness while we're in the body.
Wow.
Because that concealment is essential. It lets us fully experience this corporeal life without constantly being pulled away by the lure of infinite creation.
But the freedom afterwards is immense.
Immense. Countless other universes, other dimensions. It's all accessible. He likens it to just tuning a radio. We choose the frequency we want to experience next based on the wisdom we've earned here.
Okay, that's the cosmic perspective. Let's bring it all the way back down to Earth, back to the spacesuit we're in right now. Because section 3 of the source material, it gets pretty critical. It suggests humanity is on the wrong path.
It's a profound critique of our modern priorities, yeah. What's fascinating is how he identifies the problem. We prioritize feeding the suit's greed, not nourishing the eternal animator.
And what does that greed look like?
Material fixation. We spend all this incredible energy and resources developing colossal machines, vehicles, shiny products.
Cars, palaces, aircraft.
All of it, all in the name of making the suit more comfortable, faster, more luxurious. We're polishing the temporary vessel instead of preparing the spirit for its eternal reality.
And he draws a specific line from this materialism back to our origins, doesn't he?
He does. He connects it to the idea that our land suits originally came from an aquatic realm. And subconsciously, the suit is still drawn to that, to reflection, to movement, the sleekness of water.
So our giant glass towers, our yachts.
They're all reflections of a deep, unconscious desire for that watery home. It's an instinct that's sort of gone haywire in the material world.
But the outcome of this pursuit is, it's devastating.
Right.
We're not just getting comfort, we're generating waste beyond our capacity to manage it.
And that's the tragedy. This leads to what the source calls a slaughtered earth, wounded creation. In our fixation on comfort, we look like, well, like primitive beings wielding instruments of devastation.
And the warning is that no amount of science or medicine can fix a poisoned planet or the problems in the body that come from living in that environment.
Right. And that ties directly into this obsession with immortality, doesn't it?
It does.
So many are on the wrong path because they're focused on extending the physical life, trying to drag this mortal frame into the future instead of acknowledging the eternity of the self.
They're trying to fix the suit instead of liberating the animator.
Exactly. They're failing to look beyond the five physical senses, and they miss the essential truth that we are the architects of our own destinies.
So, how do we correct course? The sources say if we just left, the planet would heal, but civilization would be lost. We just repeat history.
The repair requires a huge, conscious global shift. He's calling for a spiritual and a political reset. Unity is imperative.
Waning.
Transcending state pride, division, the grip of greed. We have to let all species make a comeback, coexist with nature, and recognize that we are all part of one complex system.
It's about using our past mistakes as lessons, not burdens, and then moving forward. So on an individual level, how do we nurture the animator instead of the suit?
The key is turning inward. It's about connecting with our natural essence, listening to that inner self, which intuitively knows what the body truly needs, which is actually very simple.
And this creates a bond with something greater.
A profound conscious bond with the greater entity that Hogginson calls the Great I Am.
Can you define that? The Great I Am. Is that like a god? A collective consciousness?
He describes it less as an external deity and more as the ultimate expression of your highest self. The eternal universal consciousness that connects every single animator. It's the highest frequency of your own being.
So nurturing the animator means tapping into that.
Yes,
Good idea.
shifting from outward consumption to inward awareness, recognizing you are always, always connected to the source of everything.
So after all that, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've gone from the atoms in a grain of sand to creating dimensions with pure thought.
It's a lot.
It is. But the key takeaway seems to be this. We are powerful, eternal creators. We've voluntarily put ourselves inside this beautifully complex but ephemeral spacesuit to experience this dense reality. And our urgent task now is to choose to nourish that animating force, to focus on the global unity that recognizes our power rather than just giving in to the suit's fleeting demands.
That sums it up perfectly. And, since we're talking about actually practicing this, the separation of the suit's worries from the animator's power, the source material offers a specific actionable practice for you.
So this is great, a practical tool.
Yes. The idea is you shouldn't try to solve all your problems at what he calls the local level, meaning with your immediate, daily, often frantic mind. Instead, when you feel overwhelmed, you have to consciously outsource those worries to your higher self.
How exactly do you do that?
You calm your mind, you breathe, and then you envision, or just imagine, a ball of shimmering blue light. And you consciously take all those heavy worries, work, stress, personal anxiety, all the little fears, and you deliberately place them inside that ball of light. You are consciously leaving them for the higher self, the great I am, to deal with in the best possible way.
You're essentially rebooting your local operating system for the day.
Exactly. It refreshes your local mind, and it reminds you in a tangible way that you are so much greater than the sum of your parts. The spacesuit's burdens do not define the eternal animator.
That's powerful.
So the provocative thought to leave you with is this. If your highest self can access countless dimensions and manifest reality instantly, what worries are you carrying around right now that you could simply delegate to your own infinite internal power? Think about that as you go about your week.